Diablo 2 is pretty good. It's better than Diablo 1, that's for sure. I played the remastered version of the game due to Diablo 2's original edition barely being playable through Battle.net. It's actually kind of outrageous how Blizzard's fine with people owning a game on their service that just doesn't work, and that whenever someone dares to ask for access to it, they throw you in the back corners of their website and hope you leave them alone after they give you an outdated installer. So, after the official original version wasn't working on my computer, I had to go and get the remaster. Thanks, Blizzard. I'm glad to say that this version of the game really does pull all the stops. The options menu is vast and varied, the original version of the game is still constantly emulated in the background if you want to switch to it, and whatever is updated was updated with care. The visuals are beyond top-notch, with every animation and small detail getting a lot of time and love. The cinematics are also some of the best I've ever seen, with fidelity that'd even make Pixar cry. Overall, the gameplay is quite alright, with a bunch of monsters to kill, some loot to collect, and a character build to create. I guess if there's any gripe, it's that there isn't more. In general, you'll only level up once every 30 minutes on your first playthrough, and the upgrades that each level provides are negligible at best, with the exception of the very start. I went for a sorceress with a focus on lightning and chain lightning spells. Because of that, every level essentially slightly handicapped the amount of spells I can cast with my full mana bar, in exchange for a potential max damage output of around 5%. See what I mean? For a game all about progression and loot, there's a hell of a lack of progression. And speaking of loot, there just isn't much either. There's a few solid sets of items with a bunch of unique armor sets, but for the length of the game, there isn't just much to chew on. Every 3 or 4 hours you might change out your armor, but generally, at least with the sorceress, I had the best staff I could ever have in the game in the middle of Act 2 out of 5. The worlds look bloody gorgeous, and even with the randomly generated nature of all the cells that get connected, it generally always felt like a beautiful landscape to explore. Even with the generic locations of Act 1 and 4, the world still looked good enough to make me forget how boring the setting of Hell or Western European Dark Fantasy Forest number 42 actually were. If there's any gripe here, it's that it's just too massive of a world at times. Wandering around minutes at a time, only to kill a dozen or so minor enemies, did get old pretty quick. With games about finding loot, killing enemies, and squeezing all the XP you can out of everyone, you'll always want to explore everything, since you can't ever truly know how much of the main path of the game expects you to do all of it. Can you rush through it just by focusing on the main story? Can you rush through the story with a little bit of side stuff? Do you have to explore everything? See, these types of questions will likely lead people to go with the safe option of just exploring, rather than getting stuck and then being forced to go back just to grind some more around the generally empty worlds. With game design in mind, I also liked how Diablo 2 expanded on the status effects on Diablo 1 by adding more potential item effects and so on. However, it's generally complexity theater. By that, I mean most stats are quite meaningless if you're anything but a melee character. When I tell you that the staff you wield adds 10 frost damage, would you expect your spells to have an extra minor frost effect to them, since you channel your energy through the staff? I hope you don't, since literally no stats, except for flat level increases to abilities, actually matter to magic. Instead, the bonus damage to quote-unquote attack ratings only apply to you if you, for whatever baffling reason, decide to not only throw out fireballs, but instead just try and kill demons with your flimsy stick in melee. Yeah, it's honestly baffling to see. The world continues to be really interesting, and no matter what part of the world we're at, I just always wanted to learn more. I always wanted to talk and squeeze out every line of dialogue from the characters, and I'd love to see a game in the Diablo universe that actually takes time to truly indulge in its world building, since I think it would be a banger. I guess my final gripe has to be with the bosses. All in all, they're kinda stinky. They're spongy, they don't regen their health if you just leave and do other stuff, and they have a very limited set of attacks. What it leads to is just a test of patience. Not a test of skills, or even a test of not just your build, but your ability to leverage your build. There's no nuance. Either your skills are good enough to kill the monster effectively, or you don't. Yeah, you can chug a potion or two, but these end up just being extensions of your survivability, not actual extensions of your skill. It's basically just adding numbers to your inevitably lowering mana or health bar. I guess the question is, what could be done to improve them? Well, first, just add more elaborate attacks. Second, lower their health so they're tough but not spongy. And three, add ways to leverage your skills in those fights, so you don't have to stare at random guides and micromanaging your skill points. You have fire? Good. Use nearby flammable objects to create fires to kite the enemy into them. You like frost? Great. Use the sources of water nearby to freeze the monster into place and simplify dealing damage to them while they're in their position, maybe even forcing you to pick a perfect moment between attacks to deal insane damage. Have lightning? Use that same pool of water to create a big arena of damage to make the elements kill the boss for you. Those are actual quality boss fights. Fights where you use your own wits combined with the character's skills, rather than pressing right-click on the boss until their bar has lowered enough over the course of 15 minutes as you chug potions. This game came out in the year 2000, so it's not like games like Deus Ex, Fallout, Resident Evil, Half-Life, Quake, Final Fantasy, even the damn Pokemon games didn't exist. These types of creating problem-solving systems already existed. But, as negative as it might sound, the bosses are only a very small part of the game, and in general, everything else was quite enjoyable, even if it was bloated at times. Even the original graphics of the game somehow work really well to this day, with a very clean art style, making everything even more legible than they were in the remaster, and visuals that were a lot more exciting than Diablo 1. I liked my time with Diablo 2, but it is a product of its time. A time when the idea of grinding for levels, just to grind for levels, was considered good enough. A time when a big world was great, even if it was empty. The remaster has tried its best to modernize the game with its amazing visuals and cinematics, but at the core of the product, it's still a clumsy yet charming game from the year 2000. Overall, I'm glad I played it. Thanks for watching.